Hey.
Good evening, everyone. How are you? I hope everybody is well. And first, I want to thank everybody for those who wished me well because of my accident yesterday. Fortunately, it wasn't severe. My truck isn't happy, but it didn't turn out as bad as the guy that I hit. So I feel really bad for them. And it was a little Hyundai, and
Thank God for insurance.
yeah, and I'm driving a Toyota Tundra, which is a pretty big truck, and it did some pretty good damage to them. Anyways, but thank you for your well wishes and helping and just praying for me for those who were. And
He's not hurt.
I'm not hurt.
God.
Yeah, I feel good. I woke
No
up this morning, no
whiplash.
soreness, nothing. So I feel really fortunate about that. And then tonight I'm going to talk a little bit about similar to what Kimberly did, where she kind of talked about when she gave it all to God, and of course had a lot of expectations of God. And I think that a lot of times we have these expectations that isn't really what God has in mind for us, and it's hard to wait on Him to know what His intentions truly are. For me, I believe I was 23 or 24 years old, and I was participating in church heavily. I had a friend group that I hung out with all the time, and we studied the Bible, and we argued about different things on the Bible, and just things like that. But we were always doing Bible work, and I was working with children, and I started teaching Revelation seminars, and I just really enjoyed it. And I was always praying to God, asking for guidance in what He wanted me to do for my future. And one night I was praying and talking to Him, and all of a sudden everything just kind of went dark, and I saw what appeared to be a lot of like bricks just falling away from me like it was a wall and opened up. And to me, that was a sign that He was opening up doors for me to participate and work with Him in perhaps getting in the ministry. I started talking to my wife at the time, and we talked about it, and she seemed okay with it. And over the next 6 months to a year, I was doing more stuff at church, and she seemed to get more aggravated with it. We ended up fighting and arguing a lot, and I could just tell, and she even started saying she doesn't want me to be in the ministry. She doesn't want to be a minister's wife, and all the things that go along with that. And I felt very disillusioned, and in my own immaturity, I felt, well, if I'm not going to do what God has called me to do, then why should I really care? And so over the next few years, I ended up getting divorced from Wendy, met Kimberly, and when I did get a divorce, because I felt that being married is a very strong commitment that you make, especially in God's eyes, when I walked away, I felt that I was pretty well walking away from God, and that's pretty much how I lived. Eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow I die. I gave myself to God at that moment, though, when I saw the wall breaking away and all that, and I felt that I give it all to Him. I'm not participating in this life in a way that I'm letting it control me. I'm letting God control my life. And yet, 6 years later, I'm getting a divorce. I'm meeting Kimberly. I don't care about Him. I'm walked away from Him. And as we told you the story before, how Kimberly came to know God, I'm just thinking at different times going, God, if you want me, you got to get her. I don't want to go through that again. Even though, again, that was just immature. That's the way I walked at that time. And again, about what we discussed about Kimberly and what she was going through, God works on His own time. And sometimes we accept God and we open up to Him and we say, God, we give it all to you, but we don't really give it all to Him. We start making our own decisions. We start walking the wrong path like I did. And that was almost 16 or 17 years.
And we all fall away and turn, and we all come back, right?
Right. And you don't, and it's up to you to come back. But He's always there. He was always there for me. He checked in with me all the time. He was always saying, I knew He was there. And I would say, nope, you got to get her. Again, that's not what and how I should do it as a spiritual leader, but I did give it to God. I just used Him as the excuse to not be with Him anymore. You didn't make it happen, Lord. It's not on me. It's on you. So that's pretty much what I did. And it's just one of those things that here we are now, some 38 years later, here I am sitting in front of you talking about how great God is and how He can change your life and how He can make a huge difference in how you live and how He can guide you and how He can make things so different than the way it used to be. Tonight I also want to talk about something else, guys and girls.
I guess I'm being silent tonight, which is very difficult, but I'm going to sit back and keep my mouth shut tonight.
Yes. Okay, now we agreed on that, so it's not like I put it on her. She asked
We're
me to
going
do
to
this.
talk at the end. I'll talk
Right,
at the end.
absolutely. So I want to talk a little bit about communication and some of the things that Kimberly and I go through. And I hear it from a lot of guys. They'll tell me these things that their wives do, and I'm going, that is just like my wife. And,
we're all the same, ladies.
right, yeah, and I don't want anybody in here, both the men and the women, to think that there is a stereotype or a guide in this conversation, or that all women are this way, or that all guys are that way. But the way we communicate is completely different. I want to give you a couple of examples that just happened yesterday, and it's just a communication thing. It's not anything other than I'm hearing one thing, and my ego or pride and all that stuff gets in the way. She's hearing something else, and her ego and pride gets in the way. And we have these unusually strange discussions that seem like it's a fight, and it shouldn't be.
We just bicker a lot.
About stupid stuff. So anyways, I've been working with Home Advisor, which is a place that gives me leads. And a friend of ours started giving me some leads, and really nice people. And I'd gotten a lead that I was talking to Kimberly about. And I said, hey, I'm going to be meeting with these people. It looks really good. I'm probably going to get the job. And she goes, is it from Home Advisor? And I said, yes.
No.
And she goes,
okay, I'm not going to talk.
And she, apparently not. And I said, yes.
I said, is it from Home Advisor with Robin?
Okay, you didn't?
Okay, we're going to fight about this now.
No, we're not.
Okay.
Either you're going to let me do this or you're not. Gee. Anyway, so I'm looking at it from my perspective, regardless of what she thinks she said, okay? So let's leave it like that. Okay, so, right, exactly. We're alive. We're just living life.
Well, you didn't get killed, right?
Right. So, yeah, so the funny thing is that, so this is what I hear, okay? Regardless of what she thinks she said, it's what I heard. And I said yes. And I started walking back to the bedroom. And she goes, from Robin? And I said, no. Now, Robin is the person who is giving me the leads that were also coming from Home Advisor. So I have my leads that I'm paying for and leads that they were giving me that I'm trying to help them out with their business.
Okay, well,
so, oh, you don't do this. Why are you doing this?
No,
So I'm walking back and I said no. She said, is it from Robin? I said no. So I'm walking back to me. So I know it's from Home Advisor, honey, but is it from the lead that Home Advisor Robin? And then I'm getting frustrated at this point because I feel like I'm answering the same question 3 times. And so I'm in the background, I'm yelling louder, but I'm also angry. So my loudness isn't just because I'm way in the back bedroom. So I said, no, really loud. And then she gets mad because she knows I'm getting mad. And
just like what we just did.
Right. And it's frustrating for me as a guy because I feel like she's asking me the same question 3 different ways because somehow I don't seem to understand what she's saying. Now that's my pride saying, oh yeah, I'm an idiot. I can't possibly understand the question she's asking me. And so that's in me. Has nothing to do with her. She just wants to know the answer and she's trying to clarify. And I find her doing the same thing to me when she's talking about a subject and she'll say something and I'll ask for clarification on it and then she gets mad at me. You know, and it's just different.
It's a lot to do with patience too, yeah.
Right, but it has to do, so women hear us differently. And another thing happened later that day after my accident. I'm driving down the freeway and I called her and we talked about a subject, and I said, well, I'll take care of it. She goes, no, don't get on your phone while you're driving because of the accident. And I go, okay, right, bye. My pride is going, Kimberly, you text, I text all the time driving. By the way, not a good idea. I don't want to say that's a good idea.
We shouldn't do that.
We shouldn't do that. And by the way, when I got in the accident, I was not texting or doing anything like that. But in my mind, she's telling me now how to drive and blah, 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 how all that goes on. But that's not what she was doing. She was concerned for me. She loves me, and she was concerned for my health. She was concerned for me being safe so that I get home to her safely. Yet, I put all this stuff on it that says pride, anger, I'm upset with her, and that's not the way it works. And I think that we all do this at some level. Some of you have a great relationship at a level where you don't do any of this. Many of you do. And we have to stop sometimes. And right after I got mad and hung up on her, I'm just like going, oh, wow, that's not really the best way to approach this situation. And me as a spiritual leader especially has to show even more patience. A lot of this comes from just communication different from a woman. As a guy, if I had a friend that just got in an accident and he called me and said he was going to text somebody while he's driving, I wouldn't even consider the idea of saying, okay, yeah, no, don't do that. I would never do that to him.
But women, we do that.
But women would do it. And it's not
it's
a woman.
Just care and concern.
Right. It's not a woman thing like she's trying to tell me what to do. But as a man, I take it right to heart. Like, oh, she's trying to tell me what to do. And I know how to drive. And why is she doing that? She does this when I'm in the car. either way, you can see the point that I'm trying to make here.
Yeah, and I think, and I'm going to just jump
Go
in
ahead,
right
yeah.
now, is our beagles are going off, but they're in the house. Another thing I think it is about communication that's so key is that we have to be like, don't be distracted. I think that sometimes we communicate and we get distracted. Like, we have such a bad habit of where we're communicating, but we're doing other things while we're talking.
Yes.
And we really need to sit, you need to sit face to face with no distractions, no cell phones, no electronics, and be able to communicate, especially if it's something very important or something that you really need to talk to them about. Because I tell you, when he's talking to me sometimes and vice versa, when he tells me something, all of a sudden 10 minutes later I'm asking the same thing. What'd you just say?
Right. Yes.
And it gets irritating, and we do it to each other.
And then we get irritable with each other.
Then we get irritable, and it's just like this stupid cycle of
frustration
bad
that we create. So guys and girls, we both do this. We both do it to each other. And the idea of this communication needs to be, if you love that person, I'm pretty sure when you met and you guys were all going out and you were on a date, even if it was with a group of friends, and you guys are all lovey-dovey with each other and stuff, when you're talking to her and when she's talking to you, you're like,
oh yeah,
right
totally.
there, you're right there, focused, listening to them, joking with them, laughing
Into
with them,
them.
creating joy and moments of fun.
Like you newlyweds over there that are listening.
And that's difficult for us to do today because we've got life in our way. We've got life. We're all caught up in our
Kids,
lives, work, and all the stuff that gets us frustrated every day. But if you really love somebody and you want it to be a really great communication, if someone's talking to you, do one of two things. Say, give me 1 minute so I can finish this. And then just stop, put everything down, not phone up, phone down, so you can't see any text coming in. We have that issue sometimes. And just the computer, turn away from the computer, get away from the computer, and if just sit and talk for a few minutes. Get it out, whatever you two have to say, and then go back to what it is that you're doing. Because the frustration that gets caused by the little communication that gets completely diffracted and messed up because you can't just focus for a minute causes more anger and upset in a relationship than it has to. Give the moment that they need.
Plus, we need to be witnesses to our children, and I think that was a big thing that I listened to on Family Life Radio. On intentional living with Dr. Randy Carlson.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about how you need to be the witness to your children at home, to where
And to
you're
each
stopping.
other. We need it too.
Yeah, where you're stopping and you're giving them eye contact. There's so much electronics, things to distract us today, and it's so sad. We don't have personal communication anymore with nothing that's distracting. And they said that we have the highest cases of anxiety in this country.
40% of the United States people are on anxiety medications.
Anxiety
and they're
meds.
contributing a lot of it to the electronics around us. The constant influx of
always something
information
in our
always
brain.
coming at us all the time. And we don't stop and just get away from it and just have peace so that we can rest and our minds can rest.
And God calls us to personal relationships.
Yes.
Not electronic relationships. We've created all this stuff. God didn't create this.
And don't throw away your cell phones. Don't trash your computers.
They're good for things.
Absolutely, they're all
But we're
tools.
just saying, you have to balance it, and you have to just put them down when you want to talk and things like that. And yeah, you have to be a little more patient when you're speaking to each other. I mean, we're so guilty of it. We do not have a perfect marriage. Don't even think that because we're doing this, we have a perfect marriage.
We're doing it because we don't have a perfect marriage.
Right, you guys see us already. We bicker. We do this stuff. Like, and that's just the way it is. But we're here to help you, to try to give you hope that if you are struggling, gosh, I was in a dark place. I didn't love him anymore and things like that. And I was in a really dark place. But guess what? God got me through to the other side, to where now all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't leave because I totally love this man. So you just have to do what it takes to be in relationship with God and in relationship with your spouse and love unconditionally and accept and don't give up.
Right, and give them time, even if they're walking in a bad moment. Again, just take the moment. Right, and we're all busy. And if you're busy at the moment, say, "Can you give me just a minute to finish?" And if you say that, don't forget that you just said that. 2 minutes later, they're still standing there waiting for you, and you started something else, which Kimberly seems to be notorious for on my side.
I know.
Where she's just
I get a
busy at
little
work. She
scrambled.
works out of the house.
Squirrel.
Yeah, she works out of the house. So she's got so much going on all the time. And she'll get busy in it again. I'll go, honey, we're going to leave in 5 minutes, and 15 minutes later, I'm still trying to get her out the door, or whatever it is. And it's important stuff that she needs to do. But if you make a commitment, and I do it too with her, so I don't want to put it all on her. That's not just her. But we just have to stop when we say we're going to stop. Listen when we say we're going to listen, and put everything away that distracts you for just those few moments so that they know that you're connecting. That's important in a relationship. The connection is everything.
Intimate time.
Intimate time. So I just want to thank you all for listening to us tonight, and you got to see a little bit of who we really are, because we are this way. We have our moments where we look at each other.
Well, those of you that know us very well, you
right.
just totally know us.
Right, and we're, the very thing that you saw tonight is exactly why we're working on this and what we're working on. If you'd have met us 4 years ago, you probably wouldn't want to be in the same room with us for more than a couple hours, because it was awful.
Right.
And God is changing us, and we're really having some really cool stuff going on, and things are changing in our lives, and we just want to share that with you, and we're just glad you're here sharing it. And again, if anybody has anything to say, or text us, or has any questions because of how we work with this, we would love to hear from you. And for everybody,
and share,
yes,
like, post. We want this to get out to other marriages. There's so many marriages that are breaking apart right now, and the enemy is just winning in so many families right now, and we want to keep them together as much as we can. And I know sometimes you can't, but we would like to try with God's help.
And we're just two broken people living a broken life, getting through a broken relationship that's now coming together in a good way, and God's putting us together in a strong and loving way, and we couldn't be more excited, and our lives couldn't be better. So
congratulations, Courtney, on your marriage.
Yes, awesome, Courtney.
Hopefully, we miss you.
Yeah. Take care of yourself.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks,
we'll
Cheryl.
see you next week. Bye.
All right, bye now.